Hello and welcome to the world as we see it. Welcome back if you are a returning visitor, and welcome to you if you are visiting us for the first time. It's very, very good to have you. Now, my name is Lloyd Mitchell, and as you may or may not yet know, I am an ordinand with the St. George's Anglican Church here in Pattaya in Thailand. I will, from September, all things being equal, be joining an online. Oh, what does that say? Oh, it's that little thing that's popped up. I can see it's popped just over there. It's popped up and it's gone away suddenly. So we can all see the comments. And that's all good news. So that was a comment from Stream Elements saying, you're streaming, you're live. So that's very good. Very, very good. Now, I was going to say from September, all things being equal, I will be starting an online 3-year academic ministry course with Sarum College. And I suppose that's just a little bit about me. What I want to do, the purpose of I haven't shared the Google page, so let me see what's happened there, why that's gone a little bit wrong. Well, it's not wrong as such, it's just not what I want. So let's have another go. And we can see Google. There we are. Right. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to talk to you today about the order of service. Today we have published the order of service for this coming Sunday, the 18th of July, which is the 8th Sunday after Pentecost. It's the 16th Sunday in ordinary time, and it's the 7th Sunday after Trinity. In the 3-year liturgical calendar, we are on year B, and we as a congregation follow track 2. In some parts of the world we call next Sunday proper 11. Okay, so depending on what system you follow, hopefully you should know where in the year you are. Okay, and I think this is very useful for those of us who are into the liturgy and the ritual of the whole thing. I say the whole thing flippantly there. I don't mean it flippantly. I mean of the worship. I find it interesting to learn about all of this, and so you can see our order of service is there. And you can go all the way through. We've got all of the hymns, the collect, various bits and pieces, all the way down. And I want to show you in particular this little media player at the bottom, because it's very cool, and I think lots of people don't know it's there. It's there to help you, so that if you see a hymn you don't know, you're not familiar with, if you see a hymn and you think, well, how am I meant to sing that? Well, you can go down. This one is "O Happy Band of Pilgrims," right? And we can go down and we can see "O Happy Band of Pilgrims," and we can click on that and it will play it. Okay, there we are. And we even have Father David helping us with his singing, and we can follow his lead. So I think that's great. Now there we are. We can stop that there. You all can go to the order of service. I've shared the link with you, and you're very welcome to join in. So effectively it's stgeorgespatia.com/18th of July 2021. It's 18th July 2021. When I say a dash, it's like a hyphen, a little one that floats in the air, as opposed to an underscore. Good. So there we are. That's the order of service I wanted to share with you. The other thing I wanted to share with you, having shown you the media player, is a social enterprise, which, for anyone who's not sure what social enterprise is, it's something which, on the surface of it, has been set up using the principles of business, okay, although the aims and objectives of the social enterprise are charitable and are, you know, a good cause for the community. And a social enterprise, when they work, they wash their own face. So they make sufficient monies to fulfill the purpose, to meet the aims and objectives, to pay for any reasonable staff inputs if they are required, to pay for the cost of rent and electricity and any other utilities which are used, to pay for administration, to pay for their own website. And they can sometimes, very often, be shored up with donations. That's fair to say. So where costs can be cut by the the income of donations, whether those are donations in cash or in kind, then that's very common with social enterprises too. But bottom line is, it's not just using free money, it's making its own stream of income too. Now, with that in mind, we've been having a number of conversations with one of the parishioners here in Pattaya, and what we are looking to do is using the banner of Churches Together in Thailand, developing the principle of a social enterprise, and doing that, really building that idea around a noodle restaurant concept, a concept of a noodle restaurant. Now everyone is familiar with a noodle restaurant, very straightforward. They have a swift turnover, so bowls are filled with noodle soup, and the customer, having paid for that noodle soup, will eat their noodle soup and will then not really sit around, will probably just go. Okay? And so what we're thinking of doing is having a noodle soup kitchen in a restaurant setting, set up to look very cool, where folk, anyone would want to eat there. And if a normal customer were to pay their bill, they know that they paid for their food and they bought a meal for someone who can't afford dinner. Now, at the same time, there'll be those folk who can afford part of the cost, and they will be welcome to eat too. And so what we are going to do is set up a system whereby those who are, if people present in a way which is social, then they would absolutely be invited in, and they can eat indoors, and that's all good. If folk need a bit of a hand in terms of personal hygiene or whatever, then we will have showers and a clothing store on site so they can get cleaned up before they sit down to eat. If they would rather not be cleaned up, if they would rather just have a takeaway, then that's up to them, and we will very happily facilitate a takeaway for those folk who don't want to leave their bundles of belongings somewhere else. They want to keep those with them, or they don't want to have a shower. Then that's their prerogative. That's their choice. They can have a takeaway, and this will be somewhere where the folk of Passia and elsewhere can turn up, and if they're homeless or living with the effects of poverty, they'll be able to get a free meal. And in the beginning I would expect that they would get one free meal a day. It may well be that in the future, if this happens to work well, they can get more than one free meal, okay, whether that's breakfast, lunch or dinner, or breakfast and dinner, they'll get more than one, okay. But I think in the outset it will be one free meal per person per day. And that's about sustaining life, because it's an emergency situation to do with the pandemic. Now, so that's really good news, and we will see where that goes, and no doubt we will be asking for your help to set this thing up and to make it an ongoing success, because at the moment it is just an idea, all right? Like all good things, it has to start somewhere. So there we are. Now what we're going to do is come back to our normal full screen, and we are going to have another look at Tillich. Now I had a meeting with Father Tom today, and by the way, forgive me, I know this happens quite often. This shirt, believe it or not, has just been cleaned. It's literally just come off the washing line. And it's filthy. It's a complete mess. So I don't know what to do, really. It's it looks like it's been washed with a tissue, or someone's intentionally torn a baby's nappy in half and then thrown it in the washing machine, and then popped my black shirt in on top of that, and then let it go for a spin. There's very little I can do about it. I didn't have much time to sort it out before I came on air. So forgive me, please. It's hardly a black shirt, is it? Anyway, we will carry on regardless. So Father Tom and I met today, as we tend to do on a Tuesday, and I see Father Tom at 2 o'clock on a Tuesday every week. It used to be every other week, but now it's turned into every week, which actually I prefer, because it forces me on. And as you may remember, we have a bit of a wager going as to whether or not I will ever finish the Tillich book. And there's whether it's a real wager or not, obviously it's just in principle, but the principle is 1,000 baht. So will 1,000 baht stay in my pocket, or will 1,000 baht stay in his pocket? I suppose that's the easiest way of saying it. So we've got until Easter to finish. We have got until Easter, you and I have got until Easter to finish this many pages, and we've finished this many pages so far. So we're on page 113 or 112 of Tillich. Okay. Actually, I think we're on 114, aren't we? No, what's happened? We are on 114, right? We're on 114 because we were going on about the demonic possession. Yeah? And that's where we were, and the demonic state. So we will. I'll read the last paragraph of the last page, and then we'll get back to where we were. So buckle in, because we're going to have Tillich for the next couple of pages, and we'll see how we get on. Okay. Sometimes he's a lot more understandable some days than others. I don't know if that's to do with the way I read him. Could be, right? Or is it to do with the subject that we're dealing with? I'm not sure. I'm never really sure. And I do, from time to time, go back the next day after I've read it to you. I'll go back and read it again, just to see, is my understanding, are the feelings that I have at the end of that paragraph or the end of that chapter the same the second time round? And very often they are, right? So that level of very often doesn't change with the second or third reading, right? But we're doing okay, right? So far, recently, we've learned about revelation, we've learned about mystery, and we've learned about ecstasy. So let's carry on. It says the ecstatic state in which revelation occurs does not destroy the rational structure of the mind. The reports about ecstatic experiences in the classical literature of the great religions agree on this point, that while demonic possession destroys the rational structure of the mind, divine ecstasy preserves and elevates it, although transcending it. Demonic possession destroys the ethical and logical principles of reason. Divine ecstasy affirms them. Demonic revelations are exposed and rejected in many religious sources, especially in the Old Testament. An assumed revelation in which justice as the principle of practical reason is violated is anti-divine, and it is therefore judged a lie. The demonic blinds, it does not reveal. In the state of demonic possession, the mind is not really beside itself, but rather it is in the power of elements of itself which aspire to be the whole mind, which grasp the centre of the rational self and destroy it. There is, however, a point of identity between ecstasy and possession. In both cases, the ordinary subject-object structure of the mind is put out of action, but divine ecstasy does not violate the wholeness of the rational mind, while demonic possession weakens or destroys it. This indicates that although ecstasy is not a product of reason, it does not destroy reason. It is obvious that ecstasy has a strong emotional side, but it would be a mistake to reduce ecstasy to emotion. In every ecstatic experience, all the grasping and shaping functions of reason are driven beyond themselves, and so is emotion. Feeling is no nearer to the mystery of revelation and its ecstatic reception than are the cognitive and the ethical functions. With respect to its cognitive elements, ecstasy is often called inspiration. This word, which is derived from spirare, to breathe, emphasizes the pure receptivity of cognitive reason in an ecstatic experience. Confusions and distortions have made the term inspiration. Confusions and distortions have made the term inspiration almost as useless as ecstasy and miracle. The vague use of the word in describing non-reflective acts of cognition is partly responsible for this situation. In this use of the word, being inspired means being in a creative mood, or being grasped by an idea, or reaching an understanding of something through a sudden intuition. The opposite abuse of the term is connected with certain forms of the doctrine of the inspiration of the biblical writings. Inspiration is described as a mechanical act of dictation, or in a more refined way as an act of imparting information. In such ideas of inspiration, reason is invaded by a strange body of knowledge with which it cannot unite, a body which would destroy the rational structure of the mind if it were to remain within it. In the last analysis, a mechanical or any other form of non-ecstatic doctrine of inspiration is demonic. It destroys the rational structure which is supposed to receive inspiration. It is obvious that inspiration, if it is the name for the cognitive quality of the ecstatic experience, cannot mediate knowledge of finite objects or relations. It does not add anything to the complex of knowledge which is determined by the subject-object structure of reason. Inspiration opens a new dimension of knowledge, the dimension of understanding in relation to our ultimate concern and to the mystery of being, revelation and miracle. The word miracle, according to the ordinary definition, designates a happening that contradicts the laws of nature. This definition and the innumerable unverified miracle stories in all religions have rendered the term misleading and dangerous for theological use. But a word which expresses a genuine experience can only be dropped if a substitute is at hand, and it does not seem that such a substitute has been found. The New Testament often uses the Greek work, Simeon, sign, pointing to the religious meaning of miracles, but the word sign, without a qualifying addition, cannot express this religious meaning. It would be more accurate to add the word event to sign, and to speak of sign events. The original meaning of miracle, that which produces astonishment, is quite adequate for describing the giving side of a revelationary experience. But this connotation has been swallowed by the bad connotation of a supernatural interference which destroys the natural structure of events. The bad connotation is avoided in the word sign and the phrase sign event, while the original naive religious consciences accepts astounding stories in connection with the divine manifestations without elaborating a supernaturalistic theory of miracles. Rationalistic periods make the negation of natural laws the main point in miracle stories. A kind of irrationalist rationalism develops in which the degree of absurdity in a miracle story becomes the measure of its religious value. There's one of those moments. That's where the penny drops. I might have to read that again. A kind of irrationalist rationalism develops in which the degree of absurdity in a miracle story becomes the measure of its religious value. The more impossible, the more revelatory. Already in the New Testament, one can observe that the later the tradition, the more the anti-natural element is emphasized over against the sign element. In the post-apostolistic period, when the apocryphal Gospels were produced, there were no checks against absurdity. Pagans and Christians alike were not so much interested in the presence of the divine in shaking and sign-giving events as they were in the sensation produced in their rationalistic minds by anti-rational happenings. This rationalistic anti-rationalism infected later Christianity, and it is still a burden for the life of the church and for theology. The manifestation of the mystery of being does not destroy the structure of being in which it becomes manifest. Oh, there's another one, isn't it? That's a sound bite. The manifestation of the mystery of being does not destroy the structure of being in which it becomes manifest. The ecstasy in which the mystery is received does not destroy the rational structure of the mind by which it is received. He's done it again. The sign event which gives the mystery of revelation does not destroy the rational structure of the reality in which it appears. If these criteria are applied, a meaningful doctrine of sign events or miracles can be stated. Wow. Tillich's great, actually. There are moments, aren't there? There are moments where the penny drops and you think, Tillich, good, wow, that's very good. He's given us a few gems tonight. So we're going to stop there. We're starting next time on the sentence, one should not use the word miracle. That's a teaser, if ever I've heard one. One should not use the word miracle. and we close the book. So next time, tomorrow, I'm not sure what the main event's going to be. I mean, Tillich is the main event, actually. The reading of Tillich is always the main event, but what we are doing is we're leading up to it with a little bit of news, noteworthy events, weather and sport. So, yes, I think what we will do now is we will pop over to what we do every day at this time, and we will read today's collect. Merciful God, you have prepared for those who love you such good things as pass our understanding. Pour into our hearts such love toward you that we, loving you in all things and above all things, may obtain your promises, which exceed all that we can desire. Through Jesus Christ, your Son, our Lord, who is alive and reigns with you in the unity of the Holy Spirit, one God, now and forever. Amen. So, thank you again for joining me. I've noticed we've got one viewer. I'm not sure who that viewer is. I'm not sure if it's on the Twitch or if it's on YouTube. It doesn't really matter. Okay, you are welcome. I hope that we've been somewhat entertaining of your time. And without further ado, I'm going to say with prayers